In the last PHP related video, it's actually HTML, I created a form called video HTML. And that HTML page contained a form where you can enter in a comment, and the form did nothing. In this video, what I will go over is taking the comment that you enter in on that form and doing what's called a HTTP post to a program. And I'll call this publish comment. .php. And what this program will do is that it will do a insert into a database. And databases are generally drawn like this. It's a cylinder. And inside the database, I created 5 different tables. One of it, which is the comment table. But I'll just do a simple example where you just have a comment and you send it to publishComment.php, and I'll just write the comment to the comment table. This is the video HTML page with a comment form inside of it, and I can enter in a comment, click on the publish button. Currently, right now, it doesn't do anything. Looking at the code behind it in video.html, and the more appropriate word to use is markup, because technically this is not code. The form has no action, so I want to send the when you click on the publish button, I want to send the information that you entered in on the form to a program that will do the database insert. I'll specify an action of publish-comment.php and give it a method of post, because I'll be doing an HTTP post to this file. So I'll save this file, create a new file called publish-comment.php. In here, I'll do a less than question mark PHP to instruct the scripting language that we're writing PHP code. And in here, I'll just do a var dump, a variable dump on $_post. And $_post is what's called a super global variable. And all it does is it contains the form data from a form that you submitted that has a method of post. And it's called a super global because this never got declared anywhere. It's just magically there. And I have opinions on global variables, but I won't share them in this video. I'll save the file and I need to refresh the page. I'll type in this is a test comment. Click on publish. And the variable dump on post, when I do a page source, it shows an array containing 2 elements. And this is an associative array which map strings to values, and these values happen to be strings. Looking at video.html, the associative array consists of the form elements inside this form that I posted, which happen, the keys in the array are the actual names on the form. So I have a handle input type, and there's a handle key with no information in it because I didn't enter in a handle, a user handle. And the comment, which corresponds to this input element, which is a text area with a name of comment. There's a comment key, and the value is the value that I typed in on the form. Now I'll want to put this information into the comment table, but before I do that, I'll need to create the database. And I already have MySQL installed, and MySQL is one of the database choices out there. There's other types that you can use like Postgres and MySQL, well, Microsoft SQL and SQLite, but I'll just be sticking with a classic LAMP stack, which one of the components are MySQL. And in the My Website folder, I created a SQL folder with some instructions to create all these tables. But before I create the tables, I have to create the database and a non-administrative user for the database. So I'll run MySQL, specify the root user and a password. And I'll tell it to create a database named dev_comment system with a character set of UTF-8, which allows for international characters. And I'll specify collate UTF-8_bin, end it with a semicolon. And I'll create a non-administrative user for that database. I'll do a create user, and I'll give it a username of dev1000. You can pick whatever name you want. Localhost, so I only can access it from this machine. Identified by, and then I'll type in a password. End it with a semicolon. And finally, I'll grant permissions for this user to do selects, inserts, updates, and deletes on all of these tables on this dev comment system database. And to do all tables, you do a .* after the database name. And I'll specify, we'll give these permissions to this dev_1000 at localhost. End it with a semicolon. So our database and the user is created, and now I'll type in quit. And this file contains all the SQL statements to create these tables, and I'll be just inserting into one of these tables called the comment table. So to do this, and I can't use the user I just created because the user doesn't have permissions to create or modify tables. So I'll type in mysql-u root, prompts me for a password. I'll need to do a database to run these statements on, which is dev comment system. I'll do a less than symbol and then give it the file name to feed into it, which contains the SQL statements to create the tables. And I'll press enter and give it the administrator password to the database. And the database tables are now created. Now, another thing I should point out is, going back to this form, is that it's a good practice to never trust what the user is going to submit on the form. Normal people, they would leave a sensible comment and click on the submit button. But then there's other people out there that have bad intentions, and they probably want to do something malicious and try to get into your website. And it's kind of like this cat and mouse game, is you have to stop them from getting in. And there's another class of users which they aren't humans and they're robots, and they have this relentless conquest of submitting spam to this comment form, and you can try ways to go around it. Especially this is a problem with forums or discussion groups where you want to submit forum posts and you have these complicated registration pages, and they'll find ways to get in and leave just spam, and they'll create 30 users, and all those 30 users will post links to all the stuff that you don't want on there. But we're not dealing with robots now. We're just dealing with the situations of malicious people. We also have to take into account for those kind of people. Just to give you an example, as I can also at the end of the comment, I can type in script language is equal to JavaScript and type in alert hello, which is innocent, doesn't do anything bad. Now if I click on publish, I get a hello alert, and the downside is that if I display these comments back on the video.html page, it's going to, every time that someone visits the page, it's going to say hello, which is not what I want. And if I do a view source, it contains this as a test comment, and that's exactly what I entered in on it. And one way around it is to do a filter underscore input array, specify a constant of input post,